James Turner for the untouchable true school sports. Let's go, baby. Bow!
Be careful what you wish for because it can become a reality.
Yeah. The untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing game's missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. All right, so we're going to continue playing catch up. There's a lot we missed. So one of the fights that I missed that I did watch, but I didn't make a video about it. And I got to tell you, this fight really exceeded my expectations. I think it's one of the best fights I've seen this year. I think it's one of the top 5 best fights I've seen in 2025 for sure. And that's the fight between none other than Bektemir Melikuziev, Bek Bully, coming in as the B-side, by the way, because the other guy, Golden Boy, had invested money into this guy. You know, he was a standout USA amateur fighter, and there was high hopes. And that's none other than Darius Fulgham. So Darius Fulgham, Bektemir Melikuziev, a true crossroads fight for the careers of both men, a true watershed fight because, you know, Melikuziev, it's been some years since he lost. The last time he lost was like 4 years ago when he fought Gabe Rosado, and Gabe Rosado knocked his ass out. But he's avenged that loss, and he hasn't lost in a long time. I think he's on like a 5-fight winning streak or something like that. Fulgham, on the other hand, you know, coming into this fight, I thought Darius was very interesting. He was at a very interesting place in his career because, you know, I've watched these Darius fights against the guys like Alontes Fox and Vaughn Alexander and you know, he's been a very mixed bag. I think he's been very steady, but he hasn't really like lit the world on fire. So it's funny to say this, but he wound up losing this fight by the narrowest, by the slimmest of margins, right? And I actually think I can hand on heart say it's probably one of the to me it's the best performance of Darius Fulgham's career, and it's in a loss. So it goes to show you just how crazy of a sport boxing is. But let's talk about this fight because I thought it was a really good fight on paper, but it turned into a great fight, an awesome fight when it actually played out in real life, in real time. So Bek Bully, you know, he's built like a fire hydrant. He's a southpaw. He's physically strong. Like a lot of Uzbek fighters, you know, a lot of these Uzbek fighters are power punching southpaw. So when you fight a power puncher Uzbek, one punch you got to be worried and cognizant of to take away is the straight left hand because they're gonna look to throw it and hurt you. And early in the fight, when Bektemir Melikuziev got, you know, distance at mid-range and could explode to come forward with that left hand, it was scoring on Darius Fulgham, and it was giving him a lot of problems. So it was crazy because even though Darius Fulgham is the taller fighter and he has that tall frame, it wasn't benefiting him in this scenario to fight on the outside because the guy with the more explosive legs who can close the gap quicker was Bektemir Melikuziev. So Darius made an adjustment in the middle of the fight. He decided to fight Bek the Bully a bit more on the inside. You know, Bek was kind of leaning over his front foot a little bit, and you know that's where Darius started to really throw uppercuts, and he actually hurt Bektemir Melikuziev, had him bleeding, and it was very much an even fight throughout the whole entire bout. You know, only problem with Darius that I noticed early in the fight, and it actually wound up costing him late, is that because early in the fight, Bek had Darius on the back foot. Bek had Darius on the ropes with the left hand, and I noticed when there were a lot of hard punches being thrown at Darius on the ropes and just volume in general, his feet would get a little bit spread out. So he had to reset his feet, and sometimes he'd move himself right into big shots, and this costed him because the fight was pretty tight. I mean, it was anybody's fight. It was one of those fights where whoever got the last round was probably gonna win. Bek the Bully scores a knockdown in the 12th round. Bek the Bully wound up actually scoring the knockdown because he hit Darius with a big body shot, and then Darius' feet got real wide, and then he kind of walked to his right, and he walked right in the middle of he walked right into a big left hand, and that put him on his ass, and that was the difference in the fight. Darius Fulgham, you know, was in there tooth and nail, right there with Bek the Bully. And, you know, even though he lost this fight, Darius Fulgham proved to me that he's truly a war level fighter because Bek the Bully, outside of Canelo Alvarez, who's the undisputed champion right now, I would say Bek the Bully's probably in the top 5. I mean, he's probably, I think it's fair to say he's in the top 5 best super middleweights in the world. I mean, when you look at it right now, you probably got to say like what? You You got Beck Bully, you got Pacheco, and then after that, you know, he could probably slide in somewhere from 3 to 5 if we're talking just about the contenders, the guys that don't have titles. He's right there. So to go in there and fight him and show that not only can you compete, but he could have very easily won. If he gets that 12th round, maybe he wins that fight. It was right there, you know, but 10-8 round in the 12th round in a tight fight like that will cost you because the judges wound up scoring the fight in favor of Bektemir, obviously, but 112, 114 across all 3 scorecards were your final scores, and I thought those were fair scorecards. I mean, it was a very, very, very close nip and tuck fight and a very just amazing fight. Probably one of the best fights Golden Boys put on in a while. Probably since Boachuk, Virgil Ortiz, I would say. Best fight they put on for sure. So that being said, I want to see Darius. I don't think Darius should get discouraged. You know, Darius, because sometimes these fighters come across these videos. Darius, keep training hard, man. You can still be something at super middleweight in the future. Just got to make some adjustments. As far as Beck, I mean, Beck right now, he's now thrusted himself right there into a big fight. So like right now, he's the #1 contender in the WBA. That's his highest ranking. Now it's interesting because Armando Resendiz is now, he won the interim title against Caleb Plant. Beck could theoretically fight Armando Resendiz, and to me that's like a dynamite fight. You know, Resendiz has a very fun, come forward, aggressive Mexican style. Beck the Bully got some damn Mexican style in his skill set, but he's got that Uzbek southpaw aggressive style as well. I think that would be a great fight for the division. But another fight that I would like to see, and I think it's actually probably maybe a little more realistic because, you know, with Armando, he's with PBC. They could do the Caleb Plant rematch, or they could do Charlo. You know, I think he's going to get one of those 2 guys. Probably the more realistic fight, and it was a fight that was rumored at one point because you guys remember I had very high hopes for the Joshawn James Lester Martinez fight, and that got made and pushed back like 2 or 3 times. But during one of those postponements, it was discussed that Bektemir Melikuziev was going to fight Lester Martinez. Now, Lester Martinez wound up knocking out Joshawn James and made a big statement because a lot of guys have fought Joshawn James, good fighters, got the brakes beaten off of them, had their plans ruined, right? So it's a statement win for Lester Martinez, but he's looking to fight at a higher level. You know, he's in a high-level camp with Team Crawford. I think Bektemir Melikuziev versus Lester Martinez might be one of the most explosive fights you can make anywhere in boxing right now. Because on one side, you got Bektemir Melikuziev with the hard-punching Uzbek style, very explosive legs, can close the gap real quickly from the mid-range and explode, punching with that left hand. He's a very dangerous fighter. You got him, very experienced as well. Learned a lot since that knockout loss with Rosado and gotten better and got a lot of confidence. Lester Martinez, every time I've seen him fight, he's just punching through everything moving right now. He's one of the most destructive fighters in boxing right now. And I know Guatemala, I don't think Guatemala's ever had a world champion. And if they had, it hasn't been in my lifetime. So, you know, I know they don't normally make world champions, but this guy looks every bit the part of a world champion. I mean, he ran right through Joshawn James like he was nothing. He beat Carlos Gongora, who's a high-level fighter. He beat Isaiah Steen, who was once a very highly touted prospect. So Lester Martinez has looked like the goods. I don't like saying that many fighters, you know, are the goods, but to me, he looks like the goods. And we're not going to fully know if he's the goods as far as at the world title level unless he fights a guy like Beck the Bully. So to me, yes, it's cool to talk about Resendiz, but the more realistic fight to make is Lester Martinez versus Bektemir Melikuziev, and I think that's just demolition. It's going to be an explosive fight. And rankings-wise, it makes sense. Politically, it makes sense. They're both at a stage of their career where I feel they need each other because, you know, I don't think many guys in the division are going to rush to fight Beck because not a lot of money and notoriety in fighting him. And same thing for Lester Martinez. Not a lot of money and notoriety in fighting him either. And these guys are very dangerous men to deal with in their boxing ring. So I think that's the route they're going to go. But yeah, that's my take on Fulgham. That's my take on Beck Bully and where he's at in his career right now. And yeah, I'm going to leave it at that. So you guys let me know what you think. What did you guys think about the fight? What do you think about Beck and potential fights with guys like Resendiz and or Lester Martinez? Leave your comments down below. Make sure you guys take the time to subscribe. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me. But I'm just a kid from Dania. So until next time, take care, guys. Thank you for watching another video on the untouchable True School Sports Empire. I'm in the fight capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada, and we got a monster in town. For more great boxing content from America to Japan and everywhere else in between, make sure you guys subscribe, stay tuned, and keep it locked.